Hey guys, thank you for tuning in. I recently started my own business online actually where I'm endorsing a lot of cutting edge companies. They represent some amazing product lines. I just wanted to steal my own sponsor spot for this video today and talk about this energy drink that I offer. It's called Excess. It's amazing. It's available in 12 different flavors, no sugar added, and it has the perfect combination of B vitamins and caffeine to give you just the right amount of energy. It's available online through my store. I would appreciate it if you checked it out. I'll put the link in the description. You'll be supporting my YouTube content and you'll be supporting my business, and in return you'll get an amazing energy drink. And I've got a bunch of other stuff on there too, so feel free to check it out, and I hope you enjoy this video. Today's video is going to be about how to set up Traefik with Grafana and Prometheus. And basically what this is going to do is it's going to watch our Docker swarm, and it will report the data from Traefik all the way into Prometheus, and then Grafana will pick that up and display it visually for us. Kind of give us a dashboard, an overview of what's going on with our services and our containers. And what's cool about this is you can see everything that's going on. You can customize it to whatever queries it allows. And you can also even set up like push alerts, stuff like that, in case something goes wrong or you're hitting a throttle or anything that you can think of would be a red flag. You would be able to set up some kind of alert system for that. So I'm going to show you how to set this up today. This is a repository, and vegasbrianc made this repository. I'm sorry, I'm mumbling there. But it's basically ready to go out of the box. Everything already works. We're gonna switch the URLs, like I'm gonna put it on like as if I were putting it into a site that I already run. So I'm gonna use my own URLs, and I'm gonna show you how to put it on a port so that you can have that more secure, and you're not just doing it over port 80. And then you can whitelist certain IPs, so you can be the only one that can access it. So let's get started, and I hope you learn a lot from this video. So I want to take a brief minute to show you what the end result looks like of Grafana and Prometheus. So I have this running right now. I'm using a URL that I own, thrivingcoder.com. I set this Grafana endpoint up at grafana.thrivingcoder.com, and I have Prometheus running on port 8090. And so Grafana is going to pick up Prometheus stats from Traefik, and then it's going to display that on the dashboard in Grafana. And when you first open this up, it's going to ask you for a username and password. In the repository, it mentions that the default username is admin, and the default password is foobar. Very typical, but anyways, logging in, you'll be welcome to this screen. So if you want to get to the dashboard and see what's going on, right here, I don't think this will be here in the beginning, but if you go up here to home and you click on your general, you can click on Traefik 2, and this is your dashboard where everything's getting reported in. This is already pre-configured. He already has queries running in the background in a config file that I will go over with you, and how you can customize that and add more to it, take stuff away. But this is just a general idea of how powerful this thing is, and the kind of stats that it can give you. So for example, if you want to narrow it down, I have Prometheus, Grafana running, and I have a little cats app running. I deployed that, replicated it 3 times. So if I click up here, it lets me monitor certain services, or we can monitor all of them. But let's just pick the cat one. I haven't really given it much action, but it has been up for over a week now, just sitting there. And this is some stats. This is a global status code 200 over 5 minutes, entry point error codes, request by protocol. So up here in the top right, you can choose the intervals of what you want to view everything as. So like if I do last 7 days. It's going to show me all the information from the last 7 days, the last hour. I had it on the last 5 minutes. This will refresh your dashboard up here so you can get new stats coming in. But over here on the side, you have all your options to configure it. You can explore, you can set up alert rules. And this is, like I said, this is already pre-configured through a file, and we're going to go through that, and I'm going to show you how to make customizations to that and use your own queries. But basically how this works is it's getting the queries from Prometheus. So if we go over here to Prometheus, and you click here, you're going to see all the queries that you have available. This is all for different stats, different data going on inside of your containers and your services. It's actually really, really cool. You can use variables. They have excellent documentation on how to use all of these. But just for an example, like open service connections, if we execute this, it's just like running a query on a database, because essentially it is. You're running a query on a database. You're storing all this data somewhere so that you can pull it up and look at it and analyze it. So here we have all of our services running, Grafana, Prometheus, and the cat app. So behind the scenes, this is actually using, if we go to edit this, you can see right here that this is the query that it's pulling the data from. So this is definitely a Prometheus query, and they're using a variable here. And I'm sure there's more about this in their documentation. I'm not going to go really thorough and deep into depth about every little detail. I just want to show you how to get this thing up and running. And if you have any questions about anything, you reach out to me anytime. But just the basics on how to get it up and running and be able to just watch your stuff in the background and know what's going on. So let's get on to look at the actual files and what powers this behind the scenes. Okay, so we've got the repository pulled down on my local machine here, which is where we're going to do all the work on it, get it ready to deploy. And this is just, this Docker Compose file here is where it's going to contain your Traefik, your Prometheus, and Grafana. All your three services are in here to get you set up and ready to go. And then over here in a separate YAML file, we have another service that we're going to launch alongside of those to so that Grafana and Prometheus can watch it, and you can see it's like a sample cats app. So starting at the top, you got to let Traefik know that you want to use Prometheus metrics. You have to well, actually I don't think you even have to do this. I think by default this is the default buckets interval, but we do have to let Traefik know that we're going to use Prometheus. I have Docker mode on here, and we are in swarm mode. So this is a Docker stack, and the default ports that are open are going to be 80, 443, and 8080. In this example, I'm going to open another port for Prometheus, and because I want to put it on a separate port, and I don't want to display it over port 80. Only because the information, the queries on the server and stuff like that, I want it to be restricted to certain IPs. So like, not just anybody can access it. Like I can only access it from my house or my job or whatever, but not open to everyone. So doing this will allow me to do that without having to lock down port 80. So I'm adding 8090 here, just like normal. And then moving on to Prometheus, you don't really have to worry about too much in this, to be honest with you. We do have to make an entry point up here for the Prometheus endpoint. We have to make an entry point. So we're going to do that. We're going to do entry points dot Prometheus dot address, and that's going to be on 8090. Okay, so if you notice, we don't have entry points for 80 and 443, so we don't need them. They're automatically, the other services are automatically going to run on 80. But once you get into SSL and stuff like that, then yeah, you can add entry points to any of your services. It's fine. So moving down, if you look at Prometheus, it's going to be referencing this folder over here, which has all the configurations already ready to go for you. So you really don't have to worry about much about that. And then we'll have a volume made for us when we launch this. These are all the configs that it's referencing. We have it on the inbound network, and we're going to want to make two changes here, because in the beginning this is prometheus.localhost. So I change it to the URL that I own, prometheus.thrivencoder.com. And remember, this is going to, once I add an entry point here, this is going to display on port 8090. And I'm going to add that port now. I'm going to do a traffic.http.routers.prometheus. Entry points, and we're going to do that on Prometheus. Okay, so now it knows that we're going to display this on port 8090, and it's also important to if you're running in Docker Swarm mode with Traefik does not see the ports on your services, so you always have to define your port in the labels. So in this case, Prometheus is coming out on 9090, and I'm telling Traefik that, hey, you can find Prometheus on 9090. But if I didn't have this here, if I didn't claim any ports here, Traefik wouldn't even see it and wouldn't know what to do with it. So it's very important that you declare the port that it's coming out on. And then once Traefik sees it, it's gonna be like, okay, hey, let's put this on port 8090 to show to anyone, to put it live, basically. Now, moving on down here to Grafana. Again, this one, you don't really have to do any changes at all, really. I'm not even going to define an entry point here because this is our dashboard. We're going to log in with a username and a password, so I don't need to restrict it as much. You can for internal use or just for yourself. That'd be more secure. But in this example, we're going to just show it over 80. It'd be recommended to do it over 443, absolutely, with SSL. But it's referring to the Grafana folder here for its configuration, its volume, provisioning, and it has an EMV file in there. And I put my URL in here, and then we're saying, hey, Grafana's coming out on 3000. So because I don't have an entry point defined here, Traefik's going to say, okay, we're just going to put it on 80, and it's going to show up on 80. And that's basically it. Don't forget to define your networks are already defined down here. You're good to go with those, and your volumes are already defined down here. So this actually would run right now. But we do need to make a small change to let Grafana know where to get its data from, because we are manipulating the URLs now. So if you go up here into Grafana, under provisioning, go to data sources, and in this YAML file, you're going to see the URL. This is actually the configuration for where Grafana gets its data. So we're getting it from Prometheus. Right now, it's set up to get it from prometheus.localhost. Well, that's got to change because we changed the URL. So we are going to do prometheus.thrivencoder.com on port 8090. Now Grafana is going to say, okay, where do I get my stats from? It's going to look on this URL, and that's where it's going to find all the data from, because Prometheus is going to have all of that. And this is where you can actually set up some more basic things, your user, password, database. But let me show you some more configurations in here, because most of your configurations are going to come from in Grafana to view stuff and whatnot. And if you go here to this Traefik rev4.json file under the dashboards, this is actually what your dashboard is showing. This is everything that you see on your dashboard. So if you look over here, it's this JSON file, and it has the dashboard. This is the Traefik Prometheus dashboard, and we'll go down a little bit. A ton of different options over here. It can be a little overwhelming, but over time, like when you compare the dashboard to this file, you'll understand it and where things are coming from. Like for example, this is the number of traffic services, that one metric that we saw. And I'll bring that up right here. If I go back to the dashboard, and number of traffic services. And if I crack this open and go to edit, you're going to see the query that runs this: count traffic service open connections. Now if we go back to the editor, this is where that query comes from. That's how the Grafana knows what to do. Matter of fact, if you try to edit this, it's going to make you copy the JSON and put that, the JSON that it gives you. See, so if you save it, it says it cannot save a provisioned dashboard because this is already provisioned. It's already programmed in the file. So this is the file. This is the REV4 file that we're looking at right now, and it will give you the changes that you made, but you have to apply those to that file and rebuild the service so that Grafana knows that it's different now. It's going to show whatever you programmed it as. But that's easy stuff. So anyways, this is your main source of what you're looking at on Grafana. This is where you go to make changes and stuff like that. For your dashboard file here. And let me show you where is the... Okay, so this is where the username and password are set for Grafana. So if you want to change those, you can change this. Obviously, I hope you change these because this is completely obvious. When you put your own credentials in, you would put that in here, and this would allow you to access the dashboard. But for now, we're just going to keep it at this for sample's sake. As far as configuration goes, that is really it. We literally have this is ready to go. And we can deploy this and it will watch our services. So even if you deploy this by itself, you'll have your Grafana, your Prometheus, and your Traefik. And then your app, when you deploy that or you deploy another stack or swarm, in that swarm, then you will, Grafana and Prometheus will pick up on that. So if we go over here to the cats.yaml, it's just a simple little cats app. It's replicated 3 times, and I have this. I need to change this URL here to cats.thrivingcoder.com, saying, hey, this is being opened on 5,000 from inside the container. Do something with it. In this case, we're not giving it an endpoint, so we're going to show this to port 80. And that's it. Now let me show you, let's move on to the server and how I launch these. Okay, so we got the repository up on the server. Same folder structure and everything, just as it is. Put it up there with our changes on it, with our URLs. Now we're just ready to fire it off. It's really that easy. We try to overcomplicate things sometimes, but in this case, I know when I was trying to set up Prometheus and Grafana on my own, before I found this repository, I ran into a lot of dead ends and misinformation. That's why I wanted to show this tutorial, because I know a lot of people are interested in seeing this stuff, and it was really helpful to me to find this repository and actually get it up and running. So I have the repository up on the server now. These are the same exact files that were in my editor, and we're just going to fire off a couple commands here. We're going to do a docker stack deploy we're going to deploy the Docker Compose file first, and that one is going to be called Traefik because that's where our traffic is. So let's do that. Create our services. Everything looks good, but let's double check to make sure everything came up properly. I already have this running, remember? So I should be able to refresh this and it should be fine. And it's not yet. Let's see over here really quick. Okay, it just came up. Remember when you're launching stacks or services in a swarm, sometimes they take longer to boot up than regular containers do. So just give it a minute or so to jump in. But it looks like it's running fine right now. If you look here, we didn't define an entry point, but this is going to be showing up on port 80. I think it might be able to be accessed from all of them. But let's go back over here and refresh this. And now we have our Grafana showing up, loading up. So let's check on Prometheus. Remember this one, we're running it on port 8090. And that loads up like normal too. Let's run a query to see if everything looks good, if it's picking up on just basically what it has right now, which is not much. And it is. So over here you can see we have two entry points open. That was the wrong one. Let's do, traffic service, open connections, execute. So we have the Prometheus entry point open connection, and then we have the regular web, the port 80 connection open, which is Grafana. So let's launch that other stack now, so we can start seeing seeing this thing in action. And this is going to be our cats.yaml file. So if we just change this command a little bit here, we can do cats.yaml, and we'll call this cats. Put that service up, let that load up in the background. We can head over here to Portainer actually, and it looks like it's running. Remember the cats app, it replicated 3 times. So if I go to cats.thrivencoder.com, we get these cool cat GIFs. Now let me show you how Grafana in action, so how it's working, how it's picking up on things. So if we go back to our dashboard here, you can see I have the cats Docker app right here. We can refresh this, and the services are popping up now. But if you look here, you don't see any requests over, well, there shouldn't be any over 5 minutes, or over a 5-minute period, the requests. So if I start hitting refresh and seeing all these different cute cat GIFs, which are amazing because I love cats. So just made a couple requests there. If I go back to Grafana, you see some action happen over here. But this is where I was looking to see something pop up. So now we know it's working. We know it's watching, and it's reporting those stats to Grafana, which is what we want it to do. So that's basically it, guys. This is just a basic tutorial on how to get it up and running. In the instance of your personal app or project, you can run that instead of the Cats app, obviously. You can run your own stacks, run it alongside the Traefik stack with Prometheus and Grafana. And remember, we're running this on a port that we can lock down so that other people can't access it and run these queries. If you go to their documentation, it'll give you all the queries. They have really good documentation about everything. It's really robust. But there's certain things that you have to enable people to actually take action on it. The queries that we're running right now are just to view metrics. And it's important to know how things work. So Prometheus is getting its data from our Traefik API. So if I were to go to this /metrics. I should get, yes, okay. So this is where Prometheus is getting its data from. This is how it knows what's going on, because we enabled this on the Traefik config in the API, and Prometheus is picking it up and allowing us to query it so that we can display it with Grafana. Thank you so much, guys, for watching my video today. If you like this content, please don't forget to leave a like down below by clicking the thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you want to stay up to date with all the latest content and videos. If you want to support my business and my YouTube channel, you can go ahead and visit my online store. I'm an independent business owner with Amway, and have some really great products to offer. The energy drinks have some amazing vitamins. Actually, the #1 selling vitamin brand in the world. So if you have any questions about anything, feel free to reach out to me in email or in the comments below. Thank you.